What is up, everybody? It's draft time once again on Underdog. Black and yellow, great colors. They go together pretty well. Obviously, the color for Underdog Fantasy. Also, great colors of the Wu-Tang Clan, best hip hop group ever. Colors of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you didn't hear, the Steelers made a pretty big deal today with my Dolphins. So yeah, I'm gonna get on my platform and talk about that and rail against what it means. First of all, for fantasy, obviously there's implications here because there was a tight end involved, and it is the one that you're probably thinking about. The rumors were true. Jonnu Smith going to the Steelers as if that was their most pressing need, tight end. But let's get to what we're doing here. It's draft time on Underdog. You want to get in on this? I'll give you a minute. Open your app or go to underdogfantasy.com, and we're going to do another Best Ball Mania 6. Now, if you are unfamiliar, maybe you're watching this back, or maybe you're just trying to get into this for the first time. You want to know what this is about? I give you the quick version. You go to Underdog, which is the place to go for your pick'ems and your best ball drafts for fantasy football. You go to drafts up here, to go to the lobby, and then you can sort. I mean, they of course still have baseball drafts going on for the slates every day, but you go to NFL. There it is, the flagship BBM 6. And you can also get in all sorts of other contests. We'll do some of these once in a while. If you want to do the big dog, only $500 entry, but a lot bigger prize pool. And I jumped in one of these. This is filling up really quick. It's the puppy, which, as you can imagine, is a smaller version. But there's a super flex one now, and they didn't have that until I think a few weeks ago. Anyway, so I just did one of these. Actually, I'm still doing it. It's a slow draft. So you can get some super flex action, and you can do eliminators. Everyone's favorite, the corgi. I can't do that again because I've already done it. Single entry, which there are all sorts of benefits to that. You are only going against one entry per user. You don't have these guys who are putting 100,000 lineups. One shot, that's it. So draft wisely, only $5. And of course, the pit bull. And then also, I should mention, shout out to Scott Fish, the SFB satellite, the Fish Bowl is going to be taking place pretty soon, actually. So if you want, maybe you're not in the Fish Bowl, you heard about it, you want to see what it's like. Now, I will just warn you, the rules here in the satellite aren't the same as the actual Fish Bowl. They're the same as all the other Underdog drafts. But it's for charity. So that right there is a good reason to enter it. You can say you're part of SFB satellite. But let's get to what we're doing. BBM 6. So you have an Underdog account. You want to try to jump in here with me? Let's do it. We're going to do, of course, 20 seconds per pick. 30. It's too slow. No, we're going to do 20 seconds per pick. And then we're going to enter on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. If you don't have an Underdog account, you want to know what this is about, again, just sign up, create an account. Use code ENDGAME. When you go and you check out, there's always a space for a promo code, right? Where it says promo, put ENDGAME, no spaces, one word, because that gets you up to $1,000 of bonus cash when you make your first deposit. So you get to play with free money, basically, depending on how much you put in the very first time you create your account, and you get free picks. And those picks can be used for anything. You don't have to wait till NFL season starts. You can do baseball on the daily. You could do esports, golf, whatever. Whatever you want, you can do it. All right, this is almost full already. There we go. It's full. All right, let's see if any familiar faces in here. And we already have one in the chat. What is up, Young Money? Appreciate you. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Tyreek is next. No, not to be the wide receiver one. I'm hoping Tyreek is actually the next to get traded, but I don't think that's going to happen. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's break down the draft here. Okay, so let's see. We have where am I? I am 10th overall. Not bad. I'll take it. I don't mind the 10th pick. I like being closer to the turn anyways. I just would rather not be stuck in the middle. Early is good. Late is fine. I could draft from anywhere, really, but yeah, I'm okay with 10. All right, so let's switch this up so you can see the board. Okay, who's in here? Trent, it's pick number 2. Oh, yeah, there you are, number 2. All right, Trent, let's see what you got in store for us. I'm actually curious so you take it too because it's flipped. The ADP has changed a little bit. I don't know if you know what I mean, but let me see. Let me get this draft board open for you guys. And look, just like that, we're underway. All right, you got Bijan number 2. What I was alluding to is Justin Jefferson. It looks like he's leapfrogged him. He is these days the number 2, at least according to Underdog ADP. Doesn't mean you have to take him number 2. It's just that's the trend that we've seen. I don't think that it really matters if you want to go Bijan or Barkley. That's fine too. All right, Gibbs going number 6. Other trend that we've talked about last time we drafted, CMC isn't just a first rounder for sure. He's firmly in the middle of the first round, pick 8 overall. He is now leapfrogged Ashton Jeanty. So it just depends how you like your running back, seasoned or green. So either way, again, we'll see what the right pick is by season's end. I do feel like, if you're worried about injury with CMC, which is totally justifiable, to some extent, being best ball mitigates that. Obviously, he's your first round pick. If he misses the season, then yeah, that's gonna hurt your team a lot. But I feel a little more comfortable in this format. Okay, so I'm actually going to, you know what? I haven't gotten a lot of Sun God. I'm gonna go St. Brown here. Not that I'm against GNT in the first round, but I did like him better when he wasn't in the first round. I have a lot of Nico. That's why I'm switching it up here. BTJ, all of them are fine. Again, there's no wrong pick at this stage. And then now my choice is, do I go Achane or do I go receiver? No, I'm not opposed to Achane here. It's 2 spots before his ADP, whatever. That's not a big deal. And I'm not in any way opposed to Achane as my anchor. But I'm gonna go Drake London. I just kind of generally prefer, I'm not getting one of those top 5 running backs. I just generally prefer to go receiver. All right. Do I do Thomas? Do you do super flex best ball? Yeah, actually, well, we haven't. I don't think we've streamed one yet. I've done one. I mean, I already did one of the puppy super flex, and I'm in a slow draft right now. But I don't know that we've streamed one yet. We could though. I mean, we don't have much longer though, because that one is going to fill up pretty soon. So, yeah, I mean, we do super flex mocks sometimes because for the most part, most leagues, redraft leagues, really aren't super flex. It's usually a dynasty thing, sometimes a best ball thing. Most redraft leagues, the vast majority don't use super flex, so we try not to do that too much because it's a little more niche. But I mean, I like to mix it up a little bit. I like to show what the difference is for those who do want to know about Superflex. Some of you guys are hardcore too. It's not just me, Earl. I do love me some slow drafts. That is absolutely true. I don't have to be occupied. All right, let's see. What would I go? Good question. All right, Young Money, a lot of good questions. Gonna kind of wait. I know you guys aren't all in here, but I want to wait and see exactly where Tyreek Hill gets taken, and then I'll start talking about him and the Dolphins. I don't want to make this all just about them. But anyways, if you didn't see today, it happened. Jalen Ramsey got traded as he wanted. Jonnu Smith got traded as Arthur Smith wanted. And Minkah Fitzpatrick going back to the Dolphins. Very interesting. All right. So there goes Tyreek Hill, 25 overall. His ADP right now 27.8. I'm wondering exactly how much it will climb. It's going to climb. Now you'd think the tight end, right? This shouldn't affect it too much. He was already the wide receiver 1, but you guys already know the leading receiver last year for the whole second half of the year, and I think by season's end, it was Jonnu Smith, the tight end, which really is a commentary. I don't think even just specifically on Tyreek Hill. It's commentary on the state of the Dolphins offense. And so this is weird because why do you take the guy that became kind of your crutch, the go-to receiver, the one that obviously Tua felt most comfortable throwing to, and then you just trade him I'm not sure why that was even necessary because you're switching Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, okay, he wanted out. Fine. Trade him, get Minka back. Minka apparently didn't want to stay in Pittsburgh either, which is a whole different thing. So you trade two disgruntled defensive backs. Maybe this improves both sides, right? I'm fine with that. I like Minka Fitzpatrick. All right, hold on. Let me make sure I don't miss my pick here. Okay, so I don't love Kyron as my anchor. I'm just going to, let's just go 0 RB. All right, well, I don't have to go 0 RB, but I'm going 3 RB. I was really annoyed when they traded Minka Fitzpatrick a few years ago to begin with. And now I'm kind of annoyed that they took a guy who was, they drafted Minka Fitzpatrick. I don't know if everybody remembers. The Dolphins got Minka. I loved that pick. I loved him as a player. And then they traded him when he was a young, upcoming star for, I mean, they think they got a first rounder out of it, but it was a package deal, right? It wasn't just, hold on, let's see who I get. Well, you know what? Okay. I don't love going QB, but do I do the McLaurin JD stack again? I guess. Let's just do it. I didn't like that they traded Minka when they did, and now you're waiting till he's a few years older, not as good, and now you're getting him back. I just don't. I don't see the logic behind it. I understand why they traded Ramsey because he wanted out. I just don't feel like they're winning these trades. I don't feel like either time, whether when they traded Minka away, when they traded back now just to get him, I'm feeling like they gave up more than they got back. So I like Fitzpatrick. I like him on the Dolphins. I'm fine with him over Ramsey because I feel like Ramsey has declined more, and obviously Ramsey's a little older. But it's like you took your leading receiver, Jonnu Smith, and you just kind of like a throw-in. I'm sure Arthur Smith insisted on this, but it's just weird. I'm not sure what they're thinking, and so now you honestly have to wonder: is this sort of what you would call a soft rebuild? Because they didn't go out and spend a lot of money in free agency. They didn't have high draft picks, draft capital. The team doesn't look better than last year. I mean, there's no way I can look up and down the roster of Miami and say, yeah, now last year we were, fringe playoff team missing, barely. But this year, no, it's the same thing. And I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of this trade was other than to just get rid of Jalen Ramsey. It's a very lateral move, but then we also, oh, by the way, gave up Jonnu Smith. So anyways, Dolphins still confuse me. I think they're still going to be a very middle of the road team. And that means on offense, what's going to happen? Tyreek is going to need to be what he was before last year. All right. So my point here with Tyreek Hill, now that he was taken, yeah, he needs to be the wide receiver one again. But, if you're going to do some sort of a soft rebuild or reboot or whatever it is, you know what? Just trade Tyreek Hill before he declines. He's already unhappy too. Anyways, why not trade him as well? I just don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. You can't do a half rebuild. What would I want in return for Tyreek? Money is the question. What's his value these days? Not a first round pick. I know that. All right, hold up. Let me. Well, you know what? Here we go. Let's just stay in line with the theme. I'm going to take Jalen Waddle. I think this has got to help Waddle. Obviously, I think he's the one who really benefits the most because they just don't have another option behind Hill being hopefully close to vintage Hill and Waddle regaining his form. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. No, that there's no next step for him. Like what we saw last year was probably the best we're going to see from Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. And honestly, what I heard, and back when they were doing the mini camps, he didn't look very impressive. They were saying that he was struggling, and so that's not very encouraging. Okay, let's see. 4 receivers. I got a quarterback. Do you like Harvey? All right, that's fine. I'll go Harvey here. I'm okay pinning my hopes on him. So in real life with Hill, it might get a second round pick. Probably probably some sort of a package deal, a pick swap included. I mean, if they're going to do something for Hill, they'd probably have to include someone else too. So I don't know. In Dynasty, this is like a sell now for Tyreek Hill. This actually might be a great time to sell Tyreek Hill because with Jonnu Smith getting shipped out, people will say, well, we got to believe in Hill again. He's going to get more targets. The Dolphins must believe in him, right? Why else would they do this? I mean, that's fine. You want to do that? I would probably rather trade Tyreek Hill than buy on Tyreek Hill. Yeah, and I agree, Thomas. I think Waddle benefits the most here. Achan benefits too. I actually said this immediately too. I think this also might show that they want to kind of get back to what they did before last year, is lean more on the running game. Because you got to remember, before last year in 2023, when they were one of the best offenses in the league, it wasn't just passing the ball deep. It wasn't just Hill and Waddle. They were the best, one of the best rushing teams, because you remember Raheem Mostert, he had his career year. And then they also had Jeff Wilson, and like everybody they gave the ball to was efficient. It was a run first kind of offense. So I think this actually kind of benefits Jalen Wright if he can get it together. Supposedly he put on some muscle this offseason. He's a little bit more prepared, take it for what it's worth. But I do think that this could be sneaky good for Jalen Wright. Malik Washington maybe gets on the field, maybe gets some targets. I think I'd rather take a late round dart throw on him than Westbrook Akine, but I can't say it means he's the number 3 target in this offense. He's the replacement for Jonnu Smith. It doesn't mean that. That would be taking things a little too far. They'll try to get him involved, probably, but let's see how that goes. All right, I think I'm back on the clock here. I am okay. There we go. Hawkinson again. It's because if not, it's what, Mooney, Buka. No, I really don't have much Mooney. Oh wait, never mind. I got Drake London. Let's oh well. Pollard. I'll take Hawkinson on the way back here. I got add my Q. Take my Q here. Not taking Brandon Ayuk. I want to make sure that doesn't happen. This is what happens. You get talking and lose track of where you pick. So I got 4 receivers. I'm pretty happy with my receivers. I got JD. 2 running backs are fine. So it's okay if it's not a full-fledged, all-out 0 RB team. You don't have to go to an extreme. All right. I'll just do Hawkinson again. I got a lot of Hawkinson, and I'm fine with that. All right. So where should Jonnu Smith get drafted is the question. And, you see right here, his ADP has actually been slowly dropping anyways, which is odd because this is before anything happened. I feel like he was probably overpriced to begin best ball season, and now it's kind of a little bit more realistic. But below Evan Ingram, yeah, that took me by surprise. And now you got to wonder exactly how low he's going to drop. And Freiermuth obviously takes a huge hit too. I mean, Jonnu Smith versus Tyler Warren. I don't know that. I mean, this kind of goes to how confident you are in Tyler Warren and Daniel Jones in that offense. I think I still would take Jonnu Smith over Tyler Warren, even now that he's in Pittsburgh. But giving Njoku over Jonnu Smith. See, this is Tucker Kraft. No. I don't know if Tucker Kraft truly has more weekly upside than Jonnu Smith, because here's the thing with Jonnu Smith in Pittsburgh is he's still going to be one of the leading receivers, and possibly the leading receiver in that offense, because they did this because they don't have a number 2 receiver or a number 3 receiver. So I don't think this hurts Jonnu's value that much, really, because he wasn't ever going to be what he was the second half of last season anyways. You know what I mean? That was just kind of a fluky thing, circumstances. So he was overvalued. Now he's a little bit more correctly valued. His draft stock should drop a little, but it shouldn't plummet because honestly, there's not that many tight ends you can stare at here and say, well, yeah, you got to take him over Jonnu now. I mean, Loveland, no. Dalton Kincaid, Dallas Goddard. Are you really taking them over Jonnu Smith now? You could, but I don't feel like there's a huge advantage there. Isaiah Likely, no, I'm sorry. That's the cutoff. There's no way you can take a guy like Isaiah Likely or Kyle Pitts over Jonnu Smith. So I don't think he really falls that far. Fire move now, again, it's not like he has absolutely zero value, but he definitely has to fall. He should already have been below Strange, I think. Maybe Gesicki, maybe Ertz. Yeah, he just kind of goes to being pretty irrelevant, I would say. I mean, the only place you'd even draft him would be best ball. All right, back to me. Let's see. Well, I don't. Okay, there's decent tight end value here. I'll just take Cam again. Actually, I could just take a second tight end here and be done at the position. Mark Andrews. Wasn't gonna take him, or I could take Goff and be done at QB. What are we, round 10? Nah, it's too early. You know what? Let's do Andrews. Why not? Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna catch up on the comments here, and I've reeled against the Dolphins. Kenny, agree. Fitzpatrick is the best player in that trade. Yeah. Again, I like getting Fitzpatrick back, but I don't know. It feels like a little bit of an overpay. Again, why didn't we just keep him instead of trading him in the first place years ago when he was younger and he was becoming a stud player? I never liked that trade. Okay, Thomas. Yeah, that's fine. I get it. It's not everywhere. We're doing best ball and sleeper. Chase, BTJ, Baker, RJ Harvey, Henderson. You get Baker as your third round pick. It's a little early. Oh, JSN, then Baker. Still a little early on Baker, but overall it's pretty good. I mean, can't complain obviously with Chase, BTJ. So if you took Chase, did you take Chase 1? Did you get BTJ at the end of the second round? Is that what happened? If so, well done. All right, let me scroll this thing down. Which okay, so you believe in Hill. Young Money still believes in Hill. Never been cheaper. Well, that's true. Upside just as high. I don't know. The thing is, we've been looking at, obviously we look at reception perception all the time. We look at some of the stats that show that he maybe has lost a step, hasn't gotten open as well. They weren't manufacturing touches for him. That was another concern. Well, now if you think, okay, this signifies the fact that they're not going to just throw those short intermediate targets, not going to target the running backs and the tight ends as much. They're really going to try to get Hill the ball, let's say on the bubble screens. Obviously, you try to get him deep, like what he used to do. Just go back to that offense from 2 years ago. I mean, if you believe in that, sure, he might be a bargain. But I'm worried that, number one, he's unhappy. Number two, he isn't maybe quite as fast as he used to be. And then I just am confused by what the Dolphins are doing in general, if they even know what they're doing. That's the thing. All right, so this round is all tied into quarterbacks. Nothing but, which is fine. So I'll still wait on quarterback. I have no reason. I'm just going to queue up Penix. Okay, so I'm done at tight ends. I probably could use a decent running back that is not a handcuff. Yeah, well, let's just go rookie. Rookie. Um, I'll wait on Penix because if I miss him, I can still get Tua. If I miss on Tua, I can still get Bryce Young or Matt Stafford. So no reason to force a backup quarterback just yet. Dobbins has climbed predictably. I got Harvey, so I'm not taking Dobbins here. Yeah, Dobbins jumped up a whole lot, didn't he? What, 127 now is his ADP? Yeah, I'm not taking him anymore. I got him right when the news was announced, and I'm done. Okay, I'm not taking Spears here. You know what? Okay, I already have some Ray Davis. I like Ray Davis. Benson is getting all this hype. Rashad White is still a very solid pick. Yeah, so those running backs will probably be gone by the time they get back to me, and that's fine. I'll take my backup quarterback. And there goes Penix. All right. 211 for BTJ. Man, that's surprising. Third round reversal. Okay. Okay. So that explains, it makes more sense than number one, how you got BTJ, and then you said you got Jason, and then all right, so you got Baker at the end of the fourth. That's more reasonable. It's fine. I'm not gonna. I don't know what receivers were still on the board at that time, but it's fine. Going Harvey Henderson, I think that's pretty good. Thomas, you got it. You got a good. You got great receivers already, so yeah, I think that's good. I probably would have taken another receiver instead of Baker, and I could have waited a little bit on quarterback. But yeah, I don't hate it. I don't know exactly how early quarterbacks were going in that league. You're saying it's 3 flex, so I would have probably rather strengthen my flex spot. Yeah, so you definitely want to grab more receivers. It's assuming it's full PPR. All right, what's up? D-Rack Will, once this team rated, this is a super flex team tight end premium. It's a 10-teamer. All right, there's Baker. Bijan, Kyron, that's nice. Tyreek, well, depends what you think of Tyreek, but let's just put him in the wide receiver 1 group for now. Godwin, Diggs. Okay, you got McBride. That helps. Let's go with Kyler and RJ Harvey. We got 2 good quarterbacks. I think for a 10-teamer, again, I'm not in love with Diggs this year. I wasn't really in love with him last year. So I prefer a stronger number 3 receiver. Again, for a 10-teamer, you're like, Diggs is at least a wide receiver 3, yeah. But this is 10-team, and it's super flex. So you probably could improve there. Yeah, and you got some young receivers, Trey Harrison, Mecca. I mean, overall, very solid. And in McBride, I understand, though, he's kind of like a number 1 receiver. So let's bump everything down. All right. Yeah, pretty solid. I mean, really, that's my only thing is I'd like the receiver depth to be a little stronger. But if Igbukah does pan out, hey, you're good. Okay. Let's see. All right. Well, I guess I'm not getting any of those quarterbacks. Let's do Leggett. Backup quarterbacks just absolutely flew off the board, so you'll all already know what I'm going to do. Let's see. Nobody here is going to snipe me, right? All right. You already know. I don't have it. Actually, well, I sort of do. It's like I don't have anybody who's stacked with him. I mean, I have Pollard. Doesn't really count. I might throw. Well, I already have 2 tight ends. I said I was done at tight end. I was like, I love Chig in the later rounds. I could still do it. I mean, there's no rule that says I can't take a 3rd tight end anyways. I do like Stafford at this ADP as well. So now I'm starting to think, because look at what's left. If I want to stack for Cam, oh, never mind. Well, there you go. Doesn't matter. No Cam for me. So Stafford it is. No Cam Ward today. All right, so now I can throw a dart at Tutu or Jordan Whittington. We'll save that for the last round. He's saying his mindset is in Miami. Yeah, he'll say something different every other week. I mean, look, it doesn't matter what he says or what he feels. It matters what he does in the field, right? I mean, some of these receivers, they can go unhappy all season long and complain, and they can still put up numbers. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm worried more that maybe his elite speed isn't quite as elite anymore. And then what's the offensive philosophy going to be for the Dolphins now? If they're going to get back to doing exactly what they did in 2023 and it works, great. He's a bargain. Even in round 3, he's a steal. Let's see it. Let's see what happens. I really think this means, though, they're going to try to get back to running the ball more as they should. So Achan, you just got to feel better about him, really. If Johnny's not getting those short targets, Achan's getting them, and he's not going to be on the field every down. He shouldn't be. So again, I think Jalen Wright is a very smart late pick here. I'm gonna probably start grabbing him a little bit more. James saying, didn't he just run a 10-5? I didn't see that. It's true, but look, straight line speed, all right, on the field when you're getting times is not the same as when you got press coverage. So I'm just saying getting separation and getting open on the field isn't exactly the same, especially when defenses are scheming for you. And that's the problem is playing the too deep. You have all the defenses saying, hey, let's just take away the deep ball with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, force the Dolphins to throw it short. And they did it. And they were able to move the chains. But guess what? That means Tyreek Hill is not an elite fantasy player because he's not getting those 50-yard touchdowns, right? It's all either catch and run or don't catch it at all. So it just, limits him from being a superstar. Okay, let's see what I need here. Got 5 receivers, got 5 running backs. Let's take a chance on Shipley. I still like De'Ami Brown. I feel like he's undervalued. Let's see, Rashawn Johnson. Try to get some players that I don't have already. It's not too many of those. I definitely don't have any Brashard Smith, and I don't think I will. It's Jalen Wright. I wasn't watching the screen right now. I was looking at the comments. Jalen Wright must have gotten drafted already. Let me go back and look. All right, I'll take Rashawn Johnson. And yeah, everyone's all over the rookie Mona guy, but Johnson's been there. He got the experience. If the rookie doesn't pan out, maybe whispers that Rashawn Johnson is like the Monty in Ben Johnson's offense. I'm not saying he's going to put up Monty numbers, but maybe he gets more touches than we expect. Yeah, okay. Jalen Wright went already about a round ago. Yeah, that's about where he usually goes. All right. That just means next time. Okay, let's see. 2 left. 2 more rounds. All right. What's up, Bobby? Glad you're on here. Glad helping you through it. We've got 2 rounds left, but I'll fill you in. Let me talk a little bit about the Steelers and a little bit more because it was railing against the Dolphins, which is easy to do. So getting Jonnu Smith was obviously Arthur Smith's plan. We knew this, but they also made a point to not sign a wide receiver in free agency and to not draft a receiver early when they very well could and should have. And so they're left without number two receiver. So Jonnu Smith, is he going to really fill the void? Yeah, that's exactly what he wants to do. Because remember, he has run two tight end sets a lot. We saw Jonnu Smith in Atlanta, and we all remember the frustration when Jonnu Smith was getting more targets than Kyle Pitts. Well, now we can say, well, maybe that wasn't just Arthur Smith. Maybe that was a little bit more about Pitts than anything. But still, there's nobody to take targets away from here in Pittsburgh. That's the point. There is no reason Jonnu Smith can't be, if not the number one target in Pittsburgh, the number two. Now, Aaron Rodgers doesn't typically go after the tight end a lot. He prefers to throw it outside. He will still throw it deep, but you can't target DK Metcalf every time, and he needs somebody else. And so maybe Jonnu Smith is that for him, because I don't see it being Calvin Austin. He's not anything more than just a deep threat. Roman Wilson, we've heard absolutely nothing encouraging about him other than the fact that, oh, he's there and maybe he's not hurt anymore. But being injured last year is not what killed Roman Wilson's rookie season. He was doing absolutely nothing before then. So, yeah, Jonnu Smith still has plenty of value. He really does. I just think you have to be aware that regardless of whether he stayed in Miami or now goes to Pittsburgh, he wasn't going to put numbers on the same pace as he did throughout the second half of last year, because that was just unsustainable. Just a lot of reasons. Anyways, all right. So my turn now. I got 7-5. I do need another receiver. Let's go Wicks. Don't have any Packers. Okay. I'm sticking with two tight ends because I like Hawkinson. I got Mark Andrews. I had no reason to take a third quarterback, and I got Jaden Daniels and then Stafford. Did somebody? Oh, no wonder. Someone took my stack. Someone actually took Tutu Atwell. All right. I thought I would be the only one. Oh, no. Wait. Yeah, someone did take Tutu. Okay. All's fair. Then that means we are going to do Jordan Whittington. Quintus Cephas is on the Rams. When did that happen? All right, Whittington it is. Did not mean to QAR. It's absolutely not something I would ever do. All right. Well, there's my team. Let me just Robert Woods. Robert Woods is still somewhere. He's on some team. I'm sure he is. I don't know which team it is, but I'm sure he's somewhere. All right, so just run through my team while this draft wraps up. Maybe I'm doing too many JD McLaurin stacks, but the value's there. You can't hate that stack whatsoever. And I usually don't want to go super early QB, but if I do, then I know I don't need a third one because I'm set there. I love the quarterback value toward the end of drafts, but I don't want to have to take two of those guys or three of them. I got JD and Stafford, so I love that. I'm going to save running backs for last. All right, Sun God, London, McLaurin is, remember, he was my third receiver. I already got St. Brown and Drake London, and then McLaurin, and then Waddle as my fourth. So I didn't really need much after that, but I got some flyers with Leggett, Wicks, and Whittington purely for the stack. I like the Hawk Andrews combo at tight end. All right, and so now, which of these running backs is going to lead the way? If RJ Harvey has the type of season I think he could, then this team is great. Pollard is solid RB2. I'm not going to have a huge breakout season, but he's a very solid RB2, I think is fine. And then I just need one of those rookies, Skadabu or Tootin, to play a factor here. Rachaad White still has plenty of value. I think he's one of the best, just pure values for those late running backs. And then the Flyers, Will Shipley, if there's a Barkley injury, and then Rashawn Johnson, because he'll fall in the end zone a couple of times. So the running backs are where I'm taking some chances. But again, you don't have to have a top 10, an elite running back. You just need running backs that can have good weeks intermittently, and maybe one guy who breaks out. So I'm hoping Harvey is that guy. All right. Well, that was it. And then, all right, let's do Trent. Yeah. Let me look at your team. You had the number 2 pick here. Let me see if I can get back to it. It's easier if I do this. Right. Okay, so Trent's team at the 2, he went Bijan. I got to scroll back and forth. We got Bijan, Rice, and Chase Brown. That's very nice. Sutton and Ridley, Caleb Johnson. All right, you almost didn't need Caleb Johnson there. We have Bijan and Chase Brown, but still good value. I like Pearsall there. You know, I'll just say I don't love Rashee Rice as your number 1 receiver. I would actually rather maybe take a chance on Tyreek Hill. I don't love Martin Harrison there either, to be honest. I would have probably taken Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams, but still, you took him where he was going. So for this kind of a tournament, that's fine. I like having Ridley where you got him. Okay, so you got Bo Nix to pair with Sutton. That was very smart, and it's good value too. Got rookies, Burton Warren, Ray Davis, I talked about, Jake Ferguson, McMillan, Pitts, Kyle Pitts. Very bold. All right. And then Daniel Jones and Dante Thornton. You say you didn't mean to take Thornton. I'd rather take Thornton there than Daniel Jones, but is Daniel Jones your only backup quarterback? Okay. So if I have to say something I don't like, it's the fact that Daniel Jones is your only other quarterback besides Bo Nix. I think you can play the late backup game at QB if you took Bo Nix. I mean, he's not Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, but I would prefer my backup quarterback to have been either one of those guys here, Stafford, Cam Ward, Bryce Young, maybe even Darnold. So that's my only thing here. You need Bo Nix to have a really good season here, basically. But if he does, then everything else should fall into place. And I will also say this. You already had Ridley. So instead of taking I guess maybe you thought Cam Ward would fall to you, but instead of taking Jake Ferguson there, if you would have taken Cam Ward to pair with Ridley, that would have been great. But overall, it's pretty good. Pretty good team. All right, guys. Well, thanks. That's it. If you don't have an Underdog account yet, get one, right? Join right now. Go to underdogfantasy.com, download the app Underdog, and make sure when you first sign up, use code NGAME because it gets you a free pick, bonus cash, and you get to do drafts like this. You can do them all off season long. So many different formats we talked about earlier, right? You can do fast drafts, slow drafts. There's a super flex there now. You can get into whatever you like. Check it out. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't turned on notifications, do it now so you know the next time we do another one of these.